When we left off, we were just plugging in 1. So 100 times 4 to the first will be 100 times 4, or 400. And plugging in a 2 will give us 100 times 4 squared, or 100 times 16. And that'll be 1600. So you can see by this chart that our values are going to get large very quickly. So when you grab your graph paper this time, and hopefully you are graphing on graph paper. Really, we got to get on that habit. Okay? Some of you in chapter 6 were not using graph paper, and it's very messy. Okay, so let's say you have your graph paper, and instead of putting the arrows, those coordinates right in the middle, we're going to drop it down to the corner like this, and just use a first quadrant graph. And let's say I'm going to count by hundreds. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. Oops, for my y values. I mean to put these here. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and just label a few of them. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 1,000. 2, 3, 4, 5. And that'll just give you enough that it's easy to count by. And then on the x-axis, I'm going to still count by ones. So you just jot down a few of those. Alright. So, x is -1. Oh, here, let me fix that. There you go. Now I have -1 on my graph. You can always add on to your graphs. And y is 25, so that's like a fourth of the way up the square. X is 0, y is 100, x is 1, y is 400, and x is 2, y is 1600. And there you can see a very rapidly growing exponential function. Okay, mine's not the smoothest. If you have a pencil and paper, it'll be a little easier to get a nice smooth line there. Okay, but it grows super quickly, so when you're doing these on your own, I would encourage you make your custom graph paper. Okay, the last thing I want to show you is solving one variable equations that contain exponents in them. Okay, and what we mean by one variable is that each part, okay, we only have one variable, like the variable x. We don't have x and y. And to do these, you actually are going to be using a graphing calculator. So if you don't have one, and I'm assuming you don't, okay, I want you to use the link provided in the lesson to get that graphing calculator. Okay, so you can see it's called the Desmos Graphing Calculator, and along the left here is where you're going to type in your equations. Okay, so when I type in my equations, what I want to do is use the little keypad here, 0.3 is the first part, okay, to the x. So you're going to use that A, B button, like the XY on a regular calculator. It makes your exponent, so to the x. Okay, and then when you see just a number here for the second equation, the graphing calculator is confused by that. So what you want to do is type in y equals 5, because we want the horizontal line. Okay, y equals 5. So just use the letters here, y equals 5, and it'll give you that little range thing, but don't worry about that. Okay, and now you can see there's a blue graph and a red on your calculator, and all you have to do to figure out where they cross is click on one line, because the solution is the intersection. And click on one line, hover over the little dot, and it says -1.337, comma 5. So we're going to write that down, -1.337, 5. And there's our solution. Okay, they cross at that ordered pair. Okay, and what we're going to really look for is the x value, because we only have x in our equation. So the solution is x is -1.337. Okay, so then to do the second one here, I'm going to move this over to the left side because I realized you can only see on the left. You do the same thing. You use these x's to get rid of your old equations. And any parentheses you see, you want to type it just like you see it. So negative sign, parenthesis, 2, AB button, X, and then you can like click outside your parentheses, okay, if you had to do something after it. And then here we're going to do 3/4, so that means 3 divided by 4, and they give you that nice fraction. It's pretty cool. 3/4 x minus 4. Okay, and you can see that it's going to graph me 2 lines this time, and I need to use my mouse and move my graph. And you can scroll, zoom, zoom. If you use a little ball on your mouse, it zooms in and out. We know we have a y-intercept of -4, so looking down here, here's my line, and here's my exponential one going negative. Click on any part of the graph, and it makes the little dot where they cross. And we see that it's 1.517 for that x value. So that's what we're going to write down. X equals 1.517. Okay. I'd like you to pause the video and do the third problem. Just practice using that graphing calculator. And then check your answer. So x is to get rid of them. Type in 1.25 to the x using that little keyboard and the AB button, and then you're going to type in -2x for the second equation. And you can move around until you can see where they cross here. It's not quite at 1, -1. Click on them at any point, and they give you that spot where they cross, and hover over it. -0.452. Okay. X equals -0.452. And what these values mean is that if you plugged x in, if you plugged this number in for x on either side, the two values would be the same. It would be a solution to the equation. Okay? So this is using a graphing calculator to solve a one-variable equation by putting both sides in separately and figuring out where the two sides are equal to each other. Okay. The link for the graphing calculator is on the lesson guide sheet on the website, so make sure you use it. This is the easiest one I found to use online. Okay, good luck with exponential functions, and let me know if you're struggling.